Hello, you lovely lot, and welcome to another episode of Marketing in the Madness. Now, today I am going to be delving into a subject with a brand I love, on a subject I love, because it's going to be all about shopping and actually B2B e-commerce. So joining me today, I have Giedre. Now, Giedre, I'm going to have to ask you to say your surname because you're going to do a much better job than I am.
Sure. Hi, Katie. Giedre Baliutaviciute.
Yes, I would not have got that right. Okay, it's the most beautiful name, but I know, I was like, oh no, I just know I'm not going to get it right. But I do know what your job involves. So you're head of B2B Marketplace and Strategic Partnerships at Frasers Group.
Yes.
I have probably spent a lot of money with Frasers Group over the many years that I have been shopping. And I'm super interested to be chatting to you today because not only are we going to be talking about B2B, which of course, I work in B2B marketing myself. So I'm really interested in what goes on within businesses on the B2B side of things in terms of, those strategic partnerships that you're going to be discussing with us today. But also, of course, what we're going to be delving into is e-commerce and what that means for you in terms of the changing face, I guess, of B2B e-commerce. And I'm lucky to host a lot of events and really interesting content, like this on the podcast around this, but it is changing. So before we kind of delve any further, it'd be good to understand a little bit about you and your role. And then I think we're going to really delve into B2B marketplaces, what's going on in the world of B2B commerce and kind of your predictions for the future, as well as, of course, some of the amazing things that you've been working on.
Amazing. So for the last 10 years, I have been working within e-commerce and my interest really were focused around B2B partnerships and marketplaces, because working with marketplaces, you really understand what customers want. You understand how you can sell your brand and how you can attract the right audience. And so as my career progressed and I joined Frasers Group in 2021 as senior e-commerce trading manager, I was more involved with hands-on tasks. My primary task was to understand the marketplaces they had and to turn them profitable. And from there on, I grew within the company. The company started understanding that there is actual business opportunity with working with marketplaces. We started delving into understanding the partnerships a little bit deeper and seeing what it means to us. And as I progressed through the 4 years within the organization, we built our own marketplace ecosystem, partnering up with third-party partners. We have built our own marketplace through Dropship capabilities. And today, as head of digital commercial partnerships for the group, I'm very lucky to get involved in the strategic long-term cross-functional partnership building. And I will be very happy to talk with you about that.
Yeah, well, let's delve into that, because for those of us that maybe aren't as educated in the world of B2B commerce, dropship, marketplaces, what does that mean? Why are you doing that as a business? What does that mean for you? And I guess, who are the partners that you're bringing in? How does that all work as a business?
So there are different types of marketplaces and partnerships. The traditional ones are the established third-party marketplaces, such as Amazon, Zalando, ASOS even. So retailers are really now very open to working with them because it does allow them to tap into a very vast, diverse customer group. Some retailers that are perhaps smaller and do not have the logistical networks available to hand, they want to partner up with marketplaces like Amazon because they can use their fulfillment centers. Marketplaces are also often used as customer acquisition tools. If you want to put your brand out there, if you want to understand what kind of customer there is out there, it is really worthwhile selling your product. Also, it's all about being competitive and agile. Often we see cases where if a retailer is not selling their brands on a marketplace, there will be someone else selling that product. So it's also about taking control. If you are there present, you can at least control who and how is representing your product and brand. We have seen some shift in the industry where retailers are investing in their own marketplaces too. I find that very interesting personally myself because customers are very agile. They know what they want to find. Often they now want to save on their order. They would want to maximize their order basket as much as possible. So if a retailer can offer anything they want to find on their website, they can maximize that purchase order with a customer. So retailers have started investing in building their own marketplace capabilities or dropship capabilities. That essentially means that they onboard third-party brands suited for their website. The third-party brands fulfill the orders directly to the customer. Customers are now quite used to receiving orders from different places, so customers still get seamless transaction on the website, and retailers really save on not investing in their infrastructures or investing in the open-to-buy budgets, because they are not responsible for that stock, yet they are able to offer the really wide portfolio of items to the customer.
Yeah, it makes sense, right?
It does make sense.
I think that, once upon a time, you didn't see so many of the big brands on Amazon. I've actually got a live example of this, of me buying something the other day. So I needed a new hairdryer. I just realised we only have me and my daughter, we only have one hairdryer in my house.
Not enough.
Crazy. Yeah, we need, she's 16. We need 2 hairdryers. So I was like, right, I need to get another hairdryer. So I've got the Dyson Airwrap, and I was like, should I get the Dyson? Should I get the Shark? And I'd actually left my hairdryer at a friend's house, so I didn't have mine. So I was like, we desperately need, I need one like now. So I was like trying to weigh up, do I get another Dyson? That seems a bit silly, or do we get something different? And I ended up getting a Shark, actually, mainly, one, because it was different, but also I could get it the next day on Amazon.
Absolutely.
Because Shark have a store on Amazon, whereas Dyson I don't think did. I couldn't get the hairdryer that I wanted in the time that I wanted because it wasn't on Amazon, whereas Shark have got this beautiful store all on the Amazon website. And I was like, that's really easy. I know it's going to be guaranteed because I'm buying it through Amazon. It's going to be here tomorrow by 1:00. Great. We're both going to be able to dry our hair tomorrow. And it worked. So, and I think that's the difference. Not that I would have also, Dyson, I could have gone to their store and bought direct and probably had it the following day, but it's ease. We trust, the convenience, the trust. I know it's easy to return. I know if there's any problems, I'm going to be, covered. And I think those kind of buying behaviors are different. So, Amazon are marketing Shark for me to a certain extent, and also making it really easy for me to buy them.
Yes, you're making a very interesting point, because some years ago, the brands were quite reluctant to work with Amazon, especially the higher profile like Shark and Dyson. Today, Amazon offers such a fantastic capability. Brands can build their own brand stores. It means they can represent their product and brand in the manner they want. Customers trust Amazon. Also, if brands sometimes worry that there might be cannibalization of their own website sales while selling on Amazon, actually, I believe that there is a quite different customer group on Amazon, especially the Prime customer. Customers who want an item delivered next day, they will be willing to pay for Prime delivery, and they will go to the Amazon marketplace, which means if the Shark or the Dyson wasn't on the marketplace, they would have lost that sale potentially. And I think while working with marketplaces like Amazon, retailers can learn so much and adapt on their own websites and platforms, because Amazon is investing in the customer journeys. They are always customer-centric, not so much seller-centric. So there are lessons to be taken.
Yeah. Is this something, so obviously you stepping into Fraser's group, that it sounds like you came to kind of help build this. So it's something that's, I guess, relatively new to the group, but I think in general, it's something that we've probably only just seen coming through, right? In the last, I've probably only just noticed it as much in the last 2-3 years, but maybe in the last 5 years, where, because if I go way back when I used to work for drinks brands, we were always worried about, route to market. We never really sold direct. There's been so much change, for different industries. Some now go, brands that we're not used to now going direct to consumer, but other brands that maybe only sold through themselves. Now, having these B2B relationships with online marketplaces, with other stores, which I guess, changes the price points, etc.
But yes.
What have you, where do you see this going, and what have you seen? Do you feel like there's been quite a big change in the last few years? Because it feels like it to me as a consumer.
I think that there has been quite a big change by retailers accepting that marketplaces are probably there to stay. They're not going anywhere, and it is better for them if they accept and partner up and make the best out of it.
Yeah.
So I am seeing, even if we're talking about Amazon is investing in attracting the very premium customer. They have recently launched a luxury fashion concession within the Amazon, selling non-new items that are traditional understood as luxury items that would not be found on Amazon. So they're really trying to attract that customer and the brands, and we can see the brands are willing to trust them. So I think there has been a big shift, and I think it will continue growing. I think a lot of brands, especially smaller ones, have started using marketplaces as a new market entry strategies as well. It is often easier, quicker, and less costly to try a new market through a marketplace partnership. There also are markets such as, let's say, Asia, that marketplace is perhaps driving e-commerce, and the brands are using the marketplaces to then follow up with their own D2C website developments, understanding what they need to have to be successful in markets like that. So I think that overall marketplaces are not going anywhere, and I think that is also one of the reasons why we are seeing a lot more retailers in the UK especially investing in their own internal marketplace capabilities. Attracting that customer at a cost-effective way, not having to invest in their own inventory, not putting stress on their own fulfillment channels, and still delivering to the customer needs. I think it's a fantastic proposition. And retailers whom are perhaps late in the game are trying to catch up, but we are seeing retailers that were traditionally a wholesale, now they are moving towards more of the e-commerce marketplace based retailers, because I think post-COVID induced stocks made them think differently about how to ship those items and how to attract the customer to the websites.
Yeah, I think it's changed massively. Like buying behaviours have changed because of some of the larger marketplaces, of course. But of course, technology's changing, everything, with so much movement and so much progression consistently, it just makes sense. And definitely, like you say, when you're looking to go to a new market, why on earth would you invest and take so much risk without testing it through a marketplace first?
Absolutely.
There's so much to learn.
There's marketplaces like Zalando in Europe, for instance. They are ever evolving, ever investing in IT and in their infrastructure. They even a few years ago connected their e-commerce with retail, which I believe retailers can now learn from their learnings and potential mistakes that they had and adapt to their own local markets. I have in the past worked with Zalando through a TM Lewin back in the day when I worked. We did launch the brand on that marketplace and in Germany, and that was the first step of testing the market out. And because Zalando was such a fantastic partner for us, introduced very good capabilities to deliver to customer closer to home, we expanded in further international European markets. And we would not have known that there is a market in Netherlands for the TM Lewin shirt if we didn't partner up with the marketplace like Zalando, for instance.
Yeah, it enables you to learn with a lot less risk.
Absolutely.
But also adopt and learn from how their platform works, how customers want to buying certain buying behaviors, maybe journeys, the online purchasing journey. I think it's super, super interesting and ever evolving. I mean, I was this is slightly different, but I was purchasing something the other day, and it was like an online beauty product, but it I was able to buy without actually investing, because I think often, you know what it's like as a woman, that I didn't know my color match, and I think that those are the kind of things like, you know, some of these marketplaces are offering different ways of purchasing, buying, that removes risk as well, which maybe as a brand, if you're going direct, you wouldn't necessarily be willing to do yet, maybe. So I think there's some interesting purchasing models being pushed by the marketplaces as well, which is
absolutely. Also, like thinking about really high returns within retail, the marketplaces often do have the capability to invest in technologies, as you just mentioned, and test and risk that investment to understand what customers want, what size they need, so that they keep an item they picked. And so they are investing in the right fit technologies. And I believe, thinking about the future, perhaps the avatars will be a thing that will be employed by retailers, where, you know, you can dress an avatar, understand your body shape, and see your product size, and then perhaps make the better decision of which size of a particular item you need. And that should hopefully minimize the returns.
Yeah, it's super smart, isn't it?
Very interesting.
And they have so much more data because we've been with them for so much longer a lot of the time as well, which is interesting.
Exactly. And they are storing the data from multi-brands, whereas retailers will not have that same access to the data.
Yeah. Oh, I find this so exciting.
Me too.
As a major shopaholic, especially. Now, you've been involved with quite a well-PR'd marketplace for Evans. Can you talk to me about some of the principles and things that you did there that made it, or that have made it such a huge success?
Yeah, so Evans Cycles was a very interesting fascia to work with. The goal was to turn the website into the destination for a cyclist enthusiast. We wanted to make sure that a customer that wants anything to do with the cycling beat accessories, spare parts, bikes themselves, they can go there and find, and sometimes go to the website and find what they didn't know they needed. So we tested Dropship with them. In the space of 6 months since we deployed the Dropship capabilities on the website, we onboarded over 9,500 new products, which was over 60% increase to the inventory that customers could choose. We then were able to proudly say that Evans Cycles now is the destination for the customer to shop and find anything cycling related. And that was a very interesting learning curve for me personally as well, because that introduced the need to change manage. From the operational and technological point of view, that was a net new project for us. So we needed to understand how the back-end operation needs to evolve. And then also the front-end consumer experience. We wanted to make sure that customers have the seamless customer journey, which we believe we have achieved, but also making sure that the teams most involved in managing the websites and the buying teams now understand that there is additional product that we do not store in our warehouse facility that needs to be looked after. We need to understand how it performs, why customers are buying, and then seeing whether we can learn anything and whether we can apply those learnings internally ourselves. And then from the e-commerce perspective, the e-commerce team had a lot more products to deal with all of a sudden, and a lot more brands to work with and market and promote. And they did have quite a task to make sure that products are visible on the site, searchable, and we are not making the website harder to shop, because that was not the goal. We believe we were successful. That was a very interesting trial, and from that point on, Dropship has become a more pivotal operational model within the organization, because we have seen the real value of it.
Yeah, explain to me more about, just because I'm a bit more naive when it comes to the back end of e-commerce. Explain to me Dropship, just on its own.
Okay, so Dropship essentially means for retailer that the retailer will not hold the stock in their warehouse facilities. A partner brand onboarded to the retailer's website will be able to sell the product on the retailer's website, but they will need to dispatch that product directly to the end consumer. And if consumer wants to return, in most cases, the consumer will return back to that seller's warehouse. So the retailer really acts as a middleman, offering that product to the end consumer, fairly risk-free, low commitment in terms of not holding the stock, and quite cost-effective. The dropship setup normally operates in a similar manner as the wholesale, which gives the retailer more control over the inventory that is being introduced on a website and the prices. So because the prices are typically controlled by the retailer, they can trade the product, they can apply promotional activities in the similar manner as the wholesale product, and really trade that on their side. And customers often see no difference who is dispatching the item. As long as the partner delivering the item meet the requirements for the delivery SLAs and the customer service experience to the end customer, the customer gets the experience they expect.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because even I wouldn't necessarily that they're not, well, maybe it is a marketplace, but it's their own B2B marketplace. The times that I've noticed that, only times, is buying, for instance, from H&M.
Yeah.
And they have their other brands, and probably have noticed it at other times, but maybe not paid attention to it as much, where H&M, for instance, have And Other Stories and various other brands. And when I go on the app and I buy something with my members discount that they give me 20% off or whatever offer they've got on at the time, I will buy across various different brands. So I can't remember all of the different brands. Weekday, I think it is, H&M, And Other Stories.
Arcade.
Yes, exactly. So you can buy from all the brands, but they're owned by the same
house, yes.
Yeah, in this case. But then sometimes if you need to return something, or the deliveries may come at different times, and this is something, again, we're, as consumers, I guess, getting more used to that. It doesn't really make any difference. It makes no difference to me as long as I can have the product and buy it. It's easier for me because I'm buying from one place, one order, rather than multiple orders. I'm like, oh yeah, I don't need to go to And Other Stories website and Coz's website, and I can just do it all here. Yes,
and typically customers pay one delivery fee.
Yeah.
So in that instance, the retailer actually takes the hit on the distribution cost, because sometimes the retailer will be fulfilling an item from their own distribution center and perhaps 2 items in the basket from a partner. And so I think an interesting point to mention also that whilst partnering with brands, retailers do have a choice of the operating model as well, which still gives the same end goal to customers. So while there is Dropship that gives retailer a little bit more control, but perhaps introduces more need to have large internal resourcing to manage those partnerships, there is also Marketplace, which from technical perspective works quite similarly, but it removes the need to manage the products on the retailer side in the same way. The marketplace typically operates in a commission basis.
Okay.
Which means retailers get paid an agreed commission base of every single sale made, and the rest goes to the partner brand. And the partner brand is then responsible to fulfilling the orders to the end customer and accepting returns in a similar manner as the dropship. But the difference there is that the partner brand manages the product and pricing. If the partner brand wants to trade full price and have a really broad assortment, typically they can do that.
Yes.
So the retailer doesn't have as much control, but it means less resourcing internal required to actually have that product sold on their website.
Yeah, so the brand that is selling through the marketplace therefore can update their own pricing.
Amazing. Also product, data, imagery, optimization, all of that sits with the brand, in both cases, Dropship and Marketplace. So the retailer really is providing the requirements for the partner brand to work with them in terms of the product data, imagery, and then the customer experience through the delivery proposition, and the rest really is handled by the partner brand. I think that's why the dropship and marketplace proposition have become so attractive as an option to so many retailers in the UK and internationally. It does allow them to be more agile, competitive. Also, they are able to react to market trends really quickly. I always think that the seasonal events such as Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Halloween, etc. are quite hard to cater for a lot of retailers. But if you did have dropship and marketplace capability, you can actually have specific partnerships filling that category gap seasonally.
Yeah.
And so for the retailer is very low investment, next to none.
Yeah, you can add better products
very
to your
quickly.
inventory, without your products suited to that period.
Yes, and then you remove and then you bring in another partner. And I think the beauty of that is learning curve. If something did not work, it's quite simple for the retailer to move on to a different brand or category to trial.
Yeah.
And retailers are able to actually do that internally, developing their own internal capabilities, or partner up with a partner that can provide them with know-how, scale, an already established network of partners readily available to plug and play.
Yeah, I think that's what's super. I mean, you see it happening even in the grocery world, like Ocado or Marks and Spencer's now offering brands. These marketplaces are growing based on consumer demand because we want access to more brands, and because of brands like Amazon, our expectations are so high because we expect to be able to get anything and everything
very quickly,
everywhere. Yeah, anywhere you want to buy it from because it's easy. We're in a world of convenience now, and I think technology has really helped us get there. Now, I want to ask something. You might tell me we're not allowed to put this live, so apologies, guys, if it goes quiet after this, because I'm interested to understand. Obviously, you guys have done a fantastic job of doing this for Evans Cycles. Do you build your own proprietary tech? Or have you onboarded technologies? And if you're not allowed to answer, just say, Katie, shut up, I'm being cheeky. But how do you navigate that? Because there's obviously a lot that goes on in the background to bring this to life from a technological point of view. Are you building in best in breed technologies? Are you are you coding your own technologies? How does that, because that's another interesting thing when it comes to marketplaces. Of course, Amazon own that marketplace, but of course, other brands maybe doing it slightly, when they work differently and they're a retailer, they may have some constraints when it comes to their technology that is stopping them from kind of taking this approach. So I'd love to know if you're allowed to share what you guys have been doing without giving away too many trade secrets.
Yes. So whilst I'm definitely not able to go into a lot of detail, I can perhaps explore the whys some retailers actually aren't able to do it in-house themselves, or why shouldn't they, or why they should.
Yes.
So large organizations, I think it's not a secret that they have more capabilities and funds available and broader teams to try and develop systems themselves. It has got very clear benefits of doing it yourself if you can do that. If you do it yourself, it means that you perhaps save on long-term costs in managing it in-house. It is a hard operation to achieve. It will require a lot more resourcing internally to develop, but it is possible, and it is often more cost-effective to do it in-house if you can. A lot of retailers either do not have the capabilities, or their systems are not agile enough, and they might be going through various transformations themselves, and they are thinking ahead, and so they decide to partner up with the likes of providers like, let's say, Miracle or Marketplace, and there are other providers in the market that could build that marketplace capability in-house. That has got its pros and cons. I think the key pros for the retailer to partner up with a specialist is the scale. The technologies are fast and modern that those partners bring in. They already have established networks of the retailers that they can connect. You can dab into their pool of brands and partnerships and access the brands and product types that you need. Also, if you are not willing or you can't invest in building out a team internally to manage those partnerships and maintain the tech, you can actually sign up for the service with the provider and they will do that for you. They can even go to the detail as much as handling the contractual negotiations on your behalf. So it really depends on the strategy and the scale of the business and depends on what they want to achieve. It is possible to grow internally, but we have seen examples of the marketplaces, like, say, Tesco recently built a marketplace out and they are working with a partner to achieve the growth. So I think the trend often is, if you want to have the scale, perhaps you will need to sacrifice on the bottom line, but bring in a specialist that has the technology, has the know-how, is able to test and learn from other partners and adapt the best approach for your own business.
Yeah, I think there's been a big shift across the board look, both approaches are totally viable, but there has definitely been a big shift, I think, towards businesses picking technologies that are easier to plug and play and that are experts in their field, rather than trying to self-build everything themselves, which can be timely, costly. There's a lot of learnings, not always the way. But I do think there's been a big shift, and because, like you say, there's so many benefits when they've already got existing relationships, they've been doing this a long time.
Yes,
I guess it just depends what your other systems look like and how that technologically they kind of fit together, and can they make the magic happen or not.
Yes, but also I think there might be a challenge to some businesses where they work on quite advanced systems themselves, and those partners are not able to connect with you. Then you are left in the situation where you either try and build it yourself, or you go through your transformation internally before you can actually work with a more modern provider. But I think a lot of retailers are now recognizing the need of investments, especially within the e-commerce world.
Yeah, it's changing so quickly and it's going to continue to change. So I guess my last question for you is, where do you see the future going? What are your what's your focus? Where are your interests? Like, what do you see happening when it comes to B2B e-commerce, and specifically around this marketplace world? What do you think the future looks like?
So, good question. I think that AI will start playing a larger role in how business to business ecosystem operates, especially when it comes to very basic things like product data. I think product data and having efficient data to work with various marketplaces that are quite demanding is challenging for many retailers. AI is able to help and will be increasingly able to help to fill in the data gaps. An example, to work with a marketplace like Zalando or Amazon, you need to have very specific product data attributes to even being able to sell that product on the marketplace. You might not have that data stored, and an AI might fill the gap by restructuring the data, cleaning the color, adding missing product attributes, improve the description, optimize description with appropriate search terms that are specifically tailored for that specific marketplace. One thing that I've seen recently with Amazon, which I found very interesting, was Amazon just started trialing an AI itself. So it now has got a feature where it went through a seller's inventory, product data, and made adjustments, suggestions, saying this item would probably sell better if you used these attributes in that language versus this. And retailers can now, or sellers can now go check the suggestions, accept them or reject, and Amazon will use that as a test and trial. And that, I think, shows a significant shift towards employing the AI, because it is very difficult for most of the retailers to work with different marketplace platforms because all of them have got different requirements for product data. So I think investments in that will continue, especially now that the likes of Amazon is moving towards that direction. Another trend that I believe will continue is the AI used for imagery. Image costs are often astronomical. A lot of retailers have to shoot photography in-house, adapt to their own styling, and do lifestyle photography appropriate for seasonal changes, etc. Employing an AI, I believe, can drastically reduce the costs of imagery. I know that it is possible to have a quite good result of a pack shot using AI. It is even today possible to achieve very great results for a lifestyle photography just by using an AI. And I think retailers will start, if not yet, investing in various AI providers to explore that, because I believe the cost saving versus the investment into the technology will be significant.
Yeah, I can't believe we got all this way without talking about AI. Especially as we were at an event together last week talking about AI and personalization. But it's here to stay, and it's only going to help retailers make these journeys a lot easier, and also, like you say, more cost efficient, because it can replace. It's not perfect yet, but it's getting there.
Yes, and I think that a lot of retailers are being a lot braver now to trial. They might see a negative impact. I went to this event only last week where someone was talking about negative impact on their conversion after they launched avatars similar to the body shape, which made me think that was such an interesting result, because thinking about reducing the return rate, you might want to know which is the precise size of an item, but that particular retailer trialed it and they found that customers did not like seeing how they looked. So the conversion dropped. So where is that balance? Where is that balance between making sure that you are helping the customers to make the right choice in terms of the size, but also not introducing that angle of perhaps not liking the way they look, and there's a completely different topic about the positivity and all of that. Just a really fine line when it comes to technology and how it's used, and the results that can be completely different from expected.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? It's there to solve a problem, but at the end of the day, sometimes the problem you don't necessarily want solving, because and also I think with clothes and things, it can look very different on the model than it does on you. And I'm assuming will be the same with avatars. What the computer shows you may not end up, certainly for a few years anyway, 10, 20, 30 years maybe, it's not going to be like it is in real life. So it could potentially turn people off.
Exactly.
Rather than turn people on to buying something.
Yes. In general, marketplaces and ways to potentially use that to help customers find the right product, but perhaps not necessarily buy it in store. The showrooming experience. There could be perhaps a way to even use that for apparel, where currently there are retailers using a showroom for larger goods like gym equipment, furniture. Customers can see the item, feel, touch, understand the quality, and then they can browse on the iPad in store, see the full inventory online that can be dropshipped. The retailer does not have to have that item in stock in their own warehouse. But an iPad in store can actually give customers the full range experience, and they can order directly from the iPad or scan a barcode on the phone, land on the page, order, delivered to their homes. So alluding from that, perhaps there is a step change in having a little showroom-like stores as well, where you, regardless, you will not have the full inventory, but customers can try the size, feel the product, and then maybe just find the right color online, purchase and deliver to their home. At least they got to try the similar style, the similar size, understand what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's going to happen, isn't it? It makes it much easier for us to purchase things.
Yes.
So I think you're already starting to kind of see. I can't remember, someone was talking to me the other day about a tiling company, and I can't remember who now, where they were doing exactly that kind of stuff, like, because it just makes it so much easier. You can see versions of it, but you don't have to have the exact version, but your color and everything you can choose online. You can use, the technology to kind of put it into your kitchen or your bathroom or wherever it might be. It's these technologies are here to stay, and it's going to make things
A lot easier.
A lot easier.
Yes.
I'm excited for it.
Me too.
Giedre, thank you so much for joining me. Honestly, it's been such a pleasure talking to you. I could talk
very much.
I could talk about online shopping all day. So this has been great for me. And I feel like I've learned a lot as well, because although I'm aware of marketplaces and how B2B e-commerce works, it's given me some real food for thought. So thank you so much for sharing. I know.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, no worries. Anytime. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Giedre.